Hi there, thanks for checking this video. Device tagging is a very important task when implementing Defender for Endpoint. I already recorded 2 videos about that, on how to tag servers and how to tag Windows 10 via Intune. Today I want to show how you can tag devices using advanced hunting. That gives you a huge flexibility to find devices and then auto tag based on the query you are building. Anyway, stick with me and let me show all the steps to implement that. Before diving straight into the auto tagging, let me do a quick review on how tagging is important when you are managing multiple devices on Defender for Endpoint. As you can see, here I am into the security.microsoft.com. I already selected devices, and then I have a bunch of servers in here and a couple of Windows 10. Straight away, I can see I have deployed a couple of tags already. Server 2019 has a servers tag, another server 2016 has servers as well, and then IT laptops and so on. If there are multiple tags assigned to a single device, I can see if I just select the device itself, and then I can quickly double check if there are multiple tags assigned to this server, or let's say to this device. As you can see, I'm now into my server 2019, and at the moment, there is a single tag assigned to it called servers. If I go back into the devices, especially if you have been managing, let's say, hundreds or thousands of devices, what you can benefit from is if you click here on filters, just click in there, and then I can scroll down. In here, I can select the tag. As you can see, I have a couple of tags already assigned. And let's say right now I want to do a quick, let's say, view into only servers. And then I can select servers. Of course, there are other bits I could select, but let me go just straight to servers. Click on apply. And then now from, could have thousands and thousands of devices. Now I can see only servers, okay, in front of me. Another very useful thing in regards tagging is the following. If I click on settings, and then let me go now over endpoints, click in there. And probably, again, if you have a bunch of devices, including servers and laptops and desktops and so on, you can always benefit from the device groups. If I click in there, I have created a couple of devices already, a couple of groups, As you can see, all servers from Contoso, all laptops, Dell and Surface laptops and so on. The way I created a group is, just hit on device group. Let me just click in here. And when you are creating device groups on Defender for Endpoint, you can set, whatever the name you want. Very important is the automation level. Here you want to set if Defender for Endpoint should do a kind of auto remediation, a full auto remediation automatically, or you could downgrade the automation as well. But anyway, that's not the subject for now. The way I created the tag is in here. As you can see, I can start with the device name. I could create a group based on domain, but right now what I did on this particular group is I want to group all the devices with a tag equal servers. Okay, and then of course I could click on add and keep adding multiple tags to kind of reduce the amount of devices in a single group. Okay, and then I can always click in here, click on preview to see if let's say the query based on my tag can catch the servers or not. That's fine. Okay, let me just click on back. Don't want to make any change. Okay, having the groups created, the next very useful thing is if you have been configuring indicators, if you are kind of new on this subject, indicators is the place where you can block or allow some specific file hashes, block or allow IP addresses, URLs, and so on. If I click, as I did already, this is not a kind of, real bad IPs. I just, took some random IP addresses. You can easily just click on add item. And what I want to show, let's say I don't want my servers to reach 200.2.2.2. Anyway, what I did already, I already added the IP address. And then from here, I could kind of, add that IP as into the whitelist. I want to allow, I want to audit to get to know if my servers are reaching that server, that IP, sorry, and so on. In this case, I want to block, let's say, is a bad IP. And then from here, now, finally, what I want to show, every time when I'm creating an indicator, again, to allow or to block an IP address, a domain, or a specific file hash, I can decide to, in this case, to block every single device on my organization, or I could select and say, you know what, I just want to block my servers. I don't want the servers to reach that IP address, but the other devices, is fine. This is, I just want to show quickly how useful the device can be, the device tag can be when you are creating groups and setting up some configuration. Anyway, this is just a quick intro. Now let's dive straight into, finally, the main subject for this video, how you can auto tag devices based on kind of, different queries. Okay, there are pretty much kind of, 3 big components we need to use in here in order to do the auto tagging. The first, we need to do an app registration. Second, I need to build a query, because in order to apply a tag, I need to kind of be specific and search, in my case here, for every single device in a particular subnet, or every single device in a particular, let's say, location. Or maybe I want to tag device based on names, and so on. Okay, there are, these 2 components I already said. The third component is a PowerShell, that actually the PowerShell script needs to have the app registration in order to kind of, use the query to find the elements from your tenant, and then eventually to do the auto tagging. Okay, these are the 3 elements: app registration, and then a query use from the advanced hunting, and finally the last component is a PowerShell script. Okay, all the components, especially the query, the advanced hunting query, sorry, in the PowerShell, please, you can find the link below where you can, get the query in the PowerShell just to get started. Okay, let's go straight to business. The first place to go is into, if you are kind of, new in here, you need to go into the portal.azure.com. That's step number 1. Step number 2, make sure you launch the Azure Active Directory. Just click in there. And then finally in here on the left, app registration. Okay, that's the place for me to start doing the configuration. Okay, because I was testing this before, and I have here, as you can see, I already built an app registration called MD Auto Tagging, already, fully working and tested. But let me build a second configuration just to show how it works. Okay, not too complicated. Let me just kind of, click on the step number 1, click on the new registration, just click in there. Now, of course, basic stuff, I need just to add a name. Let me just stick with my standard MDE auto tagging. Let's call auto tagging, 3. Okay, and then in here, I want to make sure accounts using this organization directly only, from Contoso, just leave the default. And then in here, there is a quick change you need to make. Make sure, okay, you pick, web. Okay, web, don't need to change anything when it comes to the URL. Okay, that's fine. That's step number 1. Let me click on register. Now there are 2 quick steps I need to perform in here. The first one, I need to give permission for this application in order to make the changes. But actually, before that, I need, because I will use this information later into my PowerShell, you need to get 2 information from here. The first one is the application client ID. Okay, make sure you copy that. Let me just open here a quick notepad for me to save this information. Of course, I could always, come back later. But anyway, this is the, here. Okay, this is the app ID. And yeah, that's the number, okay, I need. The second information I need as well is the tenant ID. In this case, is presented as a directory tenant ID. Same story. Let me copy this information here. Okay, tenant ID, and here's the number. Okay, I need to, just to avoid me to come back later on to this application. Okay, that's done. Now what I need to do is, the next step is permissions. Okay, make sure you click on the left on API permissions, and now we need to set 2 permissions in this app registration. Okay, in here, click on add permission. Again, there is a very important setting in here. Make sure you go over the APIs, my organization, users, click in there. Okay, and then in here we need to find the advanced threat protection. Let me just, or sorry, Windows. Okay, yeah, sorry, yeah, just search for Windows, and then the one you need to select is the Windows Defender ATP. Okay, select that option. Okay, now another decision. Here is the place where you need to decide if you want to give permission for a user or if you want to give permission for the application. In this case, make sure you select application permission. Okay, let me select that option. Okay, that's good. Now there are 2 settings we need to give the permission. In this case, the advanced query. Just click in there and make sure you select advanced query. Let me just do a quick zoom here. Okay, advanced query read all. Okay, make sure you select that option. Now make sure the next permission, just expand machine. Just click in there. And then the one you need to use, let me zoom here, is the machine. Yeah, this one here. Okay, machine read write all. Let me just do a quick zoom. Okay, yeah, these are pretty much the 2 permissions you need to set when doing this app registration. Okay, let me just double check one more time. Yeah, that's correct. The first one is the advanced query. Second one is the machine. Okay, all good. Now click on add permission. Click in there. There is another trick you need to pay attention in here. Okay, everything, looks good. Make sure, as you can see in here, not granted for Contoso. The next step before you leave this, this setting, make sure you hit grant admin concerned for Contoso. Okay, click in there, confirm, yes. Okay, now we just need to wait a few seconds. And okay, that's great. As you can see now, when you see all the green bits in here, and then means the permission has been, the permissions have been assigned. Okay, that's job done. Now the last step I need to perform in here is to take the secret. Okay, because this is a key component. In order to allow the PowerShell script to interact with my tenant, I need to have a secret that kind of works as a password. Okay, click on secret. Really simple to do in here. Okay, the next step is make sure you click on new client secret. Okay, click in there. Let me, whatever the name you want to add, let me just add here MDE secret. Okay, that's fine. Oh yeah, very important as well. Here, there is no option for us at the moment to create a kind of, permanent secret, because the idea is for you to rotate these numbers time by time to increase the security. And then you could stick with, 3 months, 12 months, and so on. And right now, let me kind of get a middle term here. Yeah, 1 year. Okay, let me stick with 12 months. Click on add. And then very important as well, now what I need to do, I need the value, okay, from this secret, because I need to inject this information into my PowerShell. Okay, make sure not the secret. Let me just do a quick zoom in. Okay, I'm not talking about the secret ID, I'm talking about the value. Okay, let me just copy this bit and let me add that into my file here as well. Okay, this is not a real file, this is just to make sure I have the key tree information in here. Okay, of course, later on I will delete. I don't want you guys, to use this secret here from my tenant. But anyway, for now, all good. Okay, that's pretty much it. Yeah, that's good. I gave the 2 permissions. Okay, this is done. Second part, I created a secret. Okay, I already took the information, the secret. I already took the information, and I already took the 2 components from here, the tenant ID and the app client ID as well. Okay, anyway, from the kind of Azure AD everything's looking good. Now the next step is for me to jump into my virtual machine where I need to actually, you know, build the configuration. Click in there. Okay, this is my virtual machine. The template I will share with you, okay, this is the PowerShell script you will need in order to do the auto tagging. Right now, let me just, you know, do a copy from there. And let's say, just to, you know, let me stick here. This is going to be my PowerShell 3, you know, again, whatever the name you want. Okay, now I need to edit this guy, edit. And now pretty much what I need to do in here is to add, okay, those 3 key components in here, starting with the tenant ID. And then because I saved that configuration already, let me just take from here. Okay, first option is tenant ID. Okay, copy. And now tenant ID. Just need to make sure there is no mistake, okay, in here. Okay, okay, that's good. Second is the app ID. Let me just jump back to there. Okay, that's the first one, app ID. Let me go back to my virtual machine. That's great. Let me just copy in here. Okay, that's job done. And finally, the secret. Same story. Let me get the secret, okay, from here. Copy. Okay, that's good. Let me go back. And now just paste in here. Okay, that looks good. Let me just save this configuration. Okay, now you don't need to change pretty much anything here. There are 2 or 3 things I need to show you. The next step is very important, okay? Here is what is the query, okay? Or what's the advanced hunting query you are going to run in order to kind of, you know, target the devices you want to auto tag. Okay, in this case, the query I'm going to use at the moment is, the first one is here, query, again, whatever the name you want, query 3. And this query is going to work in the following way. I want to tag every single device on my subnet under the IP 192.168, you know, anything. And the subnet here is 24, is like 255, you know, 255. It means any device running with the IP 192.168.0. you know, whatever, are going to be target, and then finally auto tag with the tag, okay, I want. A good idea is before to copy and paste and to run this query into the advanced hunting to make sure the query is working, because otherwise, of course, the PowerShell script is not going to work. Okay, and then this is why now I need to make sure that file is under my C temp, and the file name, again, whatever the file name you want. At the moment, I just took here query 3 txt or .txt. Okay, if I go back to here, yeah, that I just need to make a small adjustment in here. That's great. Okay, and then as you can see, now I just looking, you know, for the query, the file from C temp query 3.txt. Okay, that's fine. Another little change you need to make is in here. First of all, if you want to use this PowerShell to add a query, to add a tag, or if you want to remove the tag, and then again you can just have a query, target dozens or hundreds or thousands of devices. In my case, on my, let's say, pretending story, let's say all devices under 192.168.0, they are on my Dublin data center. And then this is why I want to auto tag every single device as Dublin DC. That's pretty much it. Okay, let me just double check one more time. I added the tenant ID, the application ID, the secret. Now I have, you know, I'm pointing to the query. I already checked the query is in there. And the name I want to add is Dublin DC. Okay, that looks good. Now before running this particular PowerShell, I just want to double check another thing. Let me just show you quickly. Let me go back to the portal, back to the security. Now if I go over the hunting, and then if I go over the advanced hunting, what I did, because before I already tested that query because I want to make sure the query really works. And then let me quickly show before pushing the, before pushing the trigger, let me show my query. It's coming a bit slow. Let me just have a look in here into the, 1 second, from here. Okay, and yeah, sorry for the delay. Here should be the query. Okay, devices from the subnet 192.168. Let me just click in here again. Okay, and finally here. Okay, and then, as you can see, is exactly the same query I showed from that txt file. Okay, I want to search for every single device 192.168.0. Okay, now pretty much just want to test. Click on run query. And if there is no typo, I should be able to see, yeah, there you go, every single device on my tenant physically running from 192.168.0 something. The device is here. Very important, the query really works. Okay, finally, before pushing the button to start the query, I want to show at the moment, none of my devices, they have the tag as Dublin DC. Okay, as you can see, I have a couple of queries in here, but there is no Dublin DC for those devices. Okay, all the checks are done. Now what I want to do is go back to my PowerShell script and then let me finally run the query. Okay, if I push the button in here, I want to make sure, I just want to save that first, and now the query is running. Again, if there is no mistakes on my PowerShell script, if there is no mistake on my query from the query3.txt, what I already tested, everything should be fine, and I should be able to get every single device under 192.168.0 tagged as Dublin DC. Okay, of course, it takes a bit of time, and it depends as well how many devices you have on your tenant. Okay, so far is really looking good. I didn't get any red kind of, error from PowerShell. And yeah, let's double check. If I go back to here and refresh my, refresh under the security.microsoft.com devices, I should be able to see every single device on my subnet, okay, now tagged as Dublin DC, Dublin, domain controller, Dublin data center on my pretending story. Okay, a bit slow, but eventually it's coming. Yeah, there you go. Okay, the good thing is it doesn't kind of overwrite any tag I already had. As you can see, Server 2019 had a tag called servers already, but now, as you can see, all the servers they got, or all the devices they got a query. If I click in this one here, again, and then I should be able to see two tags. The first one as servers, and the second one, my brand new tag coming from that device. Because I'm calling this video as auto tagging. Of course, auto tagging, now what I can do is just set a schedule to run that PowerShell script every hour, every 24 hours, depends how dynamic your network is. And then because I'm running that PowerShell script every, let's say, 24 hours, any new device that comes into that subnet will be auto tag, with no problem at all. There you go. Here's the proof, just to show everything worked well. Okay, eventually, if you change the idea and, actually, I don't want auto tag, I want to remove this tag. Okay, that's no problem at all. Because I have the PowerShell script, everything, is there. The only little change I need to do is, okay, I don't want to add a tag, but what I want to do now is to remove the Dublin DC. Things have changed in my organization. I want to remove. That's fine. Let me quickly save and let me push the button again. Don't need to tell you what's going to happen. Now the system is working on the background. Again, I'm still targeting all devices from 192.168.0. And now what I want to do is actually to remove the Dublin DC tag from those devices. Just need to wait a few seconds. And then second, before finishing this video, I want to show how you can use different tags as well. Okay, that's fine. Everything looks good. Again, no kind of no errors. If I go back, same story to my devices, and let me just do a quick refresh in here. Everything should be gone. Of course, I'm not talking about the tags I had already, but the Dublin -DC tags, as you can see, all gone. Now let me show how you can tag device based on name. First, I need to make some changes in here. Let me change this remove to add. And let's say I have a few servers. I want to tag them as London data center. Then, my new tag is going to be London DC. Okay, make sure it's add. Okay, that looks good. And then in here, in this case now, I'm going to use a different query. Okay, I'm happy with the query number 3. I have another one here in standby, query number 2. Okay, everything, don't need to change anything here. Just I'm going to use a new file, and the tag name is going to be different. Okay, so far so good. Now I just quickly need to show the new query. Okay, my file number 2 is in here, and it's a kind of very simple query. Here's just a description, find device, the devices below, and then this is the most important, device info, where device name has, and then at the moment I have 2 servers. In here, by the way, is the name, server 2012-02 and server 2012-03. Server 2016-02. And if I have 5 or 10 servers, I can just add or device has, and then the new name, and so on. Okay, that's fine. Then I want to summarize the the query, the result, based on device name and device ID. As I said before running the PowerShell command, just make sure you can trust the query and the query really works. And then to do that, let me just copy and close the file. Now let me go back to the advanced hunting, then back to the security.microsoft.com. Let me go to advanced hunting in here. And again, let me just quickly run that query to make sure there are, no typos or no problem. Okay, here, let me start a new query. Just click on those dots. Oops, okay. And then new query, query in editor. Okay, that's fine. Now, let me just try again. Here, and then new query, query editor. Okay, that's fine. Anyway, now let me just paste the content. Yeah, that looks good. And then hopefully now I can get, the goal here is just to present server 2012-02 and 2016-02. If I run the query, it should be all good, hopefully. There you go. Here is the result. Yeah, the 2 servers, let's say my target servers, they are represented. Okay, that looks good news. Now, if I go back to my virtual machine, let me just push the button and run that query. And let me click on just save and run the query. Okay, same story. Now in the background, the PowerShell script is running using that query to find those 2 servers, server 2012-02, server 2016-02 as well. Okay, no red messages, no error. That looks good news. Now the last thing I need to do is go back to the portal again, click on devices and get list. Let me stick with one of the servers at least. The first one should be the server, the server 2012-02, and then as you can see, London DC is in here. I can always click, just double check if there are other tags as well, but the most important based on the lab I'm doing here should be London DC. Sometimes it takes a bit of, it might take a few minutes, for the tag to be presented, but yeah, so far so good. And then as you can see, the London DC query is presented and all good with no problem at all. Anyway, that was another quick query I want to share, how beneficial is to use advanced hunting queries, because as I said before, the sky is the limit in order to query, target the devices you want, and then eventually to push a new tag. Anyway, that was my video on how to implement device auto-tagging on Defender for Endpoint. If you enjoyed this video, please give a quick like, subscribe my channel, and see you next time. Thanks for watching.